We're going to be talking about races today, and we'll give you just a brief overview of what these are and how you use them. So, a race is a time box. It's a set period of time that you want to complete work, tasks, or something that meets your reporting sort of criteria. So, what we're looking at with this is we have to give data a bit of a structure. So, we start with projects and programs, we put all of our information into that. We're then starting to look at how we give a time structure to that. And races is that time structure. So, think of them as if you were doing monthly reporting, you might want monthly races. If you're doing quarterly reporting, you might want quarterly races. You could do weekly, you could do daily. You can create as many as you want. You're free to chop and change to whatever suits you as a business. Actually using them is very, very simple. So you go into a project, you'll see over there we've already got a number of races set up. We can view those. There's our 4 races within this project, and we know they're quarters. So we've done financial year and broken them down by quarter. The numbers are sequential, that's automatically set up, and it takes the name of the project. So if we go back to the project, you'll see a top right a button, create race. You essentially put in the start date in, the end date in, and then which person you're going to have running that race for you. So someone is ultimately in control of that race. Once you've done that, that then pops up within the project. So if you go to your races from a project, you will only see the races that relate to that project. So here we know this one is the one that's currently in progress. This one's running. It's going to run to the 30th of June, at which point we close that down. We close all the tasks and actions within it. And then we'll obviously start pitch 2. We'll set that up. That one will be the one running. So very quickly, you can just see where you're at within that. If you actually go to the races tab, this then is every race across every single project you've got in the system. So here we know exactly what races we've got. We know which ones are already in progress, which ones are running, and it gives you a bit of a number of tasks against each of these. You do have options to create your own lists. Race board brings back the ones that are currently running, plus kind of like the next one along from that, the ones that have got some information in them. So you can create your own list views. You can have them set up with your races, recently viewed races, all of them. You don't have to view them as a Kanban. You can view that as a split view and therefore have a bit of information on each. And if we move that back to a table, you can see that just as a list view. Now within each race, so very, very quick and easy to set up. You'll basically put in 2 dates and a name in, and you'll see that here we've got a start date, we've got an end date, and the race marshal is me in this instance. What you then need to come into is start to think about what we want to achieve within this time box. So here's our race deliverables. So for this one particularly, you're saying this is financial year 24-25. It's quarter 1 of that period. What do we need to achieve within this element of our project, as we call them in the system? So we want to get the basics of our pitch in place. We want to get our supporting material. We want to get out there. We want to practice. Now, you might use this. You might have some KPIs you want to put in. You might have some numbers, some sales targets, what you want to achieve, efficiencies, savings, all of that kind of thing you can put into that outcome and deliverables. And then at the end of the race, you wouldn't normally have this in now. You'd have this as you kind of close the race down and you move it to finish, which obviously, again, is just a click of a button within the system. You would then put the race outcome in. So that will then start to explain what occurred within that period. So did you meet all of the deliverables that you wanted to achieve, or did you fail on some of them? How did that go? So very, very simply and quickly, what we're trying to do is give you a very quick method to say, here's our financial year. We know what we want to achieve within that period. We need to break that down into smaller chunks so we can manage them easily. We could do that monthly, quarterly, weekly, however you want to. Here's what we want to achieve in that period. Did we achieve it or not? The benefit of that then is I'm now going to look at pitch 2. That's the next race within this project. So that's going to be quarter 2 of the financial year. And I can start to build on what worked well in pitch 1, what didn't work well, where we've got gaps, where we need to improve. and we can start to build out what pitch 2 would look like as that quarter. So it's a bit of a retrospective on how did we do, but also planning forwards. And we call them races. There's an element of kind of athletics and theory behind the whole system. But if you're an athlete, you've run a race, you've done well, you might or not have won, you might have come second or third, decent time, but actually what you wanted to achieve was, I don't know, a PB, or you wanted to run the first lap in a certain time. You wanted to lead from the front, you wanted to go from the back and then sprint. You had something you wanted to achieve within that race. You'd have then your notes on the outcome, and that would help you prepare for the next race. So view these as a way of looking as to what was achieved previously, but also then what you can achieve in the next race. And there's a separate video on this, but there is a report I've built called Race Outcomes. Very, very quick, simple. You'll see the exact same race there, pitch 1, the same information that we've put in, what we wanted to achieve, so the race outcome. But then here we've just added all of the tasks that we also did. So again, we can look at what did we want to do, what did we achieve, and what did we actually kind of do during that period to get to those achievements. And you could extend this out. You could have more information against the task name, against the actions or tasks, loads of information, build and gather more information. So as we say, the story behind the numbers, what we're trying to get you to do is think about your business, how it runs, what works well, what doesn't, and using that qualitative data that normally gets, I don't know, it's in your head, it's a conversation you had with someone, it's forgotten, it's in a notebook, it's in an email, it's in a Word document. We're trying to get all of that information into a single place and giving it an element of a structure so that you can use it to grow your business, to try and drive more sales, drive more attention. If you're local government, drive more efficiencies, all of that stuff. So think of races as your tool to kind of review and have a bit of a retrospective on what happened previously, what worked, what didn't work. Use your numbers at the same time. Look at your sales numbers, your figures, your savings, your leads, your sales, your appointments, all of that stuff. Come back to what did we do? What decisions did we make? What conversations did we had that drove those numbers? And therefore, what do we need to do planning into the next thing? So huge element of continuous improvement within the system. That's all I want to talk to you about on races. We'll touch on a lot of the other elements in individual videos, but it is very, very simple process. A lot of people already use month reporting or quarterly reporting anyway. We're not doing much different. We're just giving your data a bit of a structure within the system that then you can use going forwards. So hopefully that's been useful, slightly longer than I wanted it to be, but I hope that's explained races to you incredibly simply and how easy it is to use them.